Allison endured colleagues' impatience when one of her kids ran a fever and she had to leave work unexpectedly. Vacations were a fiction. Although by day Allison commanded roomfuls of men in suits, she felt frantic, overwhelmed, and inadequate, particularly after a nanny called in sick or a daycare worker admonished her for showing up late to retrieve her girls. Allison got divorced a few years later when her children were in elementary school, and she juggled work and single parenting for a time. Then she reached a breaking point and quit her job. She never returned to work full-time, deciding instead to take a consulting position that paid far less and lacked benefits, but gave her the flexibility to work from home, attend school events, and chaperone field trips. After opting out of an ambitious career, Allison's goals centered on providing her daughters the loving presence of their mother, now that she had the time to give. The cost, of course, was her own aspirations. In the years after, she often longed for the stability of that career ladder beneath her feet, and the recognition, pride, and sense of identity that often accompanied good jobs like hers. When 2 decades later Allison tried to return to her career, employers considered her obsolete. I offer this book by way of thanks to Allison, my mother, to all mothers, really. It's with a sense of radical hope and outlook I learned from her that I believe a different, better world is possible, one that values the effort mothers devote to raising their children, too often at great personal sacrifice. Allison deserved a world that was kinder, more egalitarian, and more just, and our family had it better than most. Poor mothers face predicaments that are far more dire. The stories recounted in this book entreat us to forge a new path that more fairly and adequately supports women's caring labor and encourages men to share equally in this labor at home. In the chapters that follow, I explore how middle-class working mothers manage careers and caregiving in Sweden, Germany, Italy, and the United States, 4 countries with very different social policies and cultures, in order to understand what they want and need to reduce their work-family conflict. We need a legion of joyful warriors to create the better, more loving future my mother and all women and families deserve. Chapter 1. SOS. Let's face it, it's harder to be a working mother in the United States than in any other country in the developed world. The U.S. has the least generous benefits, the lowest public commitment to caregiving, the greatest time squeeze on parents, the highest wage gap between employed men and women, and the highest maternal and child poverty rates. Alongside Papua New Guinea, it is one of 2 countries on the planet without federally mandated paid maternity leave. It is the only industrialized nation with no minimum standard for vacation and sick days. Most U.S. companies don't offer any policies to support the caregiving responsibilities of their workers. It's no exaggeration to say that women's work-family conflict is a national crisis. 70% of U.S. mothers with children under age 18 work outside the home. Most work full-time. Yet women still complete the lion's share of child-rearing and housework, which means that moms do a second shift after their regular workday ends. Mothers are overwhelmed. Their partners know it, their kids know it, so do their colleagues, employers, relatives, and friends. And the crisis transcends boundaries of race, class, region, and religion. The great news is that it doesn't have to be this way. Alternatives to the seemingly intractable hardships that women with children face do exist. This book pushes the work-family debate across national borders to discuss policy solutions to mothers' overwhelm. I draw on wisdom gleaned from 5 years of conversations with 135 employed mothers in Sweden, Germany, Italy, and the United States, to understand what they believe helps and hinders their work-family conflict. I identify what other countries are doing right and wrong in trying to resolve women's struggles. Mothers' tribulations are central to this book, but this is not a chronicle of their despair. Their stories call us to action. Women's work-family conflict perpetually dominates the pages and airwaves of U.S. media outlets. Each election cycle features heated debates about work-family supports. Yet folks in the States have seen little in the way of policy reform after elections end. The truth is that mothers in the U.S. are drowning in stress. To be sure, moms with more resources can keep their heads a bit higher above the floodwaters than those with less capital to marshal in times of need, but no woman escapes the deluge entirely. This begs the question, why has the U.S. done so little to support parents? The truth is, it's not an accident. And it's not the case everywhere in the world.